things. And my buddy Marty's like, hey, man, why don't we go say hi to some of the other guys and see if they'll say something on your video for you, you know? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we go down, and all of a sudden there's Satch just sitting there in his room with his guitar, and he's just sitting there shredding, dude. You know, no amp on, just shredding on the guitar, you know? And we come walking in, and we're like, hey, Joe, hey, you wouldn't mind like saying something for my camera thing? And he looks at me and he goes, oh my God. I don't know if you know this or not, but like me and Joe almost look alike with the, you know, since he's shun the bald head and the dark eyes and the brown, you know, dark eyelashes. So he's like, dude, we look like brothers. We're like brothers. You're like Joe Satriani. And he's like saying this as my buddy's got the video camera going, right? And he goes, hey, he goes, are your boys sitting down the hall right now? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, let's go play a gag on your boys. And I'm like, okay. So he gets up, steps out of the room, and there's like this long hallway, and all the doors are along the right, and ours is all the way down, you know? He goes, as we're walking down the hallway, all of a sudden he goes, hold on, wait a minute. And he stops and he goes, here, take my guitar.
So as we transition here, I do want to talk about your interviews real quick. Okay. So the interviews that you've been doing are just incredible, man. I mean, come on, name a few of your favorite guys. Not one, but just name a few just offhand. We were talking about Ray Parker Jr., right?
Yeah, Ray Parker Jr. is great. I think the ones that have been sort of the biggest ones have been sort of accident. One of them was accidental, which was with Wendy Melvoin. I think that's the biggest one we've ever done. It's got several million views from Prince, and the Revolution. And that was sort of what kicked off this whole interview thing. And it was never really intended to be a series. It was like I had made her this pedal board, and that kind of launched it. And then, you know, it's been really cool to get to talk to my other guitar heroes like Dan Huff and Michael Thompson are kind of two of the biggest guys that, you know, I just adored their parts and their playing, and it was just like a dream. It was like really, you know, like when I was a kid and I was looking at my parents' like record collection and listening to that stuff, or being inspired by a guitarist, I always imagine how it might have gone down, you know, that they would have been, how it would have been with them in the room. And so it's really special to be able to like actually have it, you know, to the degree that it can be recreated, and that, you know, I can be in the room and hear it kind of happening in the moment. Like that is just the coolest thing. Like that's the best part of the interview. You know, asking questions sometimes for myself because I just want to know, like, what gear did you use for that, or like, how do you get this sound? And having them elaborate, but more than that, just like, you know, hearing them play these guitar parts that like sometimes you can't even tell, like they're so buried in some cases. So having them really brought up in the mix and having them, you know, really demonstrate, it's really cool to kind of see all that stuff happening in real time. I'll tell a funny story, which I don't know that I've told this publicly, but it's this hilarious story of how this ended up coming to be. So Chris is from the Bay Area, and his brother lives in a nearby city and is a drummer and plays with, you know, Robert Cray and another blues guitarist named Matt Schofield quite a bit locally, and his sister Bonnie lives in the area, and we've got a bunch of sort of mutual friends, but kind of none of them either felt comfortable either making that introduction or kind of like wasn't really sure what my intentions were, because I guess Chris is pretty private. And so, you know, it was just difficult to get an endorsement locally for somebody to like connect me. My parents live in San Diego County and have retired there, and they live on a private golf course that Huey Lewis also lives on certain times of the year. And my dad, I'd just seen my parents recently, and my dad kind of said, well, who are you working on now? You know, who's somebody? And I explained to him, I'm really trying to get this Chris Hayes guy who played with Huey Lewis the News. And I was like, well, you know, I see Huey sometimes at the gym or at the bar, you know, and so, you know, if I see him, I'll you know, he doesn't really hear very well because he's got Meniere's disease, but if you get him on a good day, he can, you know, you can communicate with him. So my dad happened to see him in the gym, like the next day or 2 days after we had this conversation at you know, at the country club.
Incredible.
And he just goes over and he talks to him, and I think at first Huey thought he was asking for me to interview him, and then eventually came to understand that it was Chris that I was interested in interviewing. 2 hours later, I get a phone call from Chris.
Oh my God, that's incredible.
Yeah,
That's so incredible. What did they say? We're like 6 degrees from each other.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the kind of the most fortuitous of all of them.
And what a fun episode, Mason. I gotta tell you, I think I've watched it twice at least. In certain parts of it where I just jump in and I'm listening. And I'm just like, walking around my house. I'm outside mowing the lawn. And so you've given us the opportunity as the viewer, Mason. Thanks to like look into this window, peer into this. I just want to give you a lot of kudos for that. It's so fun as a fan, just watching all this stuff. And I'm like, go Mason, go.
Chris Hayes. Holy smokes.
Can you believe it? I'm still alive.
Well, I'll say it's been quite a journey to get you here.
No, it's the same thing as that. Oh. It's just our development board. It's just how it progressed. Actually, I'm going to turn it around here. Mm-hmm. So, here's the clone. And then these are independent. And then this was the tube section. And this is a different resistor. See, these are different plate resistors, grid resistors, more plate, more grid. And it allowed us to give 3 different positions for each of those resistors. Then I think these are cathode resistors. This is a tone control. And then it finally has the 3 basic output, gain, and this one had an input level. So again, we were totally developing this. This tube section has got everything adjustable since it was our first time. This is the high voltage power supply, taking it up to more than 100 volts. So
very interesting.
That's kind of how it progresses, and so.
And so it begins.
Yeah, but even after we got that working, don't know if tube clon is the perfect thing. We might want to put a blues driver with it because that's a great sound and it can push the tube as well. It might complement it better. I mean, not everyone is a clon fan.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
And
not everybody can afford a real clon, right?
Exactly.
How much are they running for right now? I mean,
at least $5,000.
I was gonna say, upwards of 4,000, 5,000 last I checked. And I was out at that point. So this is how much do these run for approximately? What type of price ranges?
They're usually around $200, sometimes $300 is the most.
So
we have a couple lines with Sweetwater that are $99. So
wow,
all over the place.
Amazing.
Yep.
I love it. So not only is it innovative, creative, logical, but it's also got a good price point to it.
We try to be innovative too. There's not many pedals at all like the Octaside with the pitch shifting.
So cool.
Yes.
Everybody's got to get out there and get one.
Please.
Mick, Dan.
Yes.
Come on now.
They heard it. They're very critical of that type of stuff.
Yes.
Buzzes and pitch shifters, and I think they had fun with it too.
They did. I think so. So one question for you, Robert. If you have a bucket list thing on your mind, doesn't have to be music, right? What's something you've always wanted to do or hang out with somebody or go somewhere? What would be a good bucket list thing?
I've been lucky enough. I mean, I got to meet Trey Anastasio. He's the reason I made the first compressor, right? So I got to do that. I got to meet Julian Lage. I'm a big Julian Lage fan. I got to meet Seth Lee Jones. You know what I mean? So I've got to have pedals voted, best-selling or win some kind of sound awards. And so I've really kind of hit everything. Again, like I told you, I really want to have multi-generational employment here. So hopefully when you come back one day, you'll be interviewing some kid.
Or my kid will be interviewing those kids.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
It's very inspirational. So thank you so much, Keeley. Did I say anything about you?
Okay.
Inspiration
list.
is.
I have to interrupt you.
Go for it.
A bucket list item for me now is making some of these electronic parts. I want to buy plastic injection molding.
Wow.
Stamping machine. I want to use a Epson robotic arm to put these things together. You know, hopefully I can come back on a Monday morning and that thing's got its coffee ready for me and a bucket full of Jacks. You know,
I
I'm
love
serious.
it. That is great. What a
Yeah,
good thing. I mean,
love
always
it.
the visionary.
Trying to.
Yeah, thank you so much, Robert, for being on the show. I appreciate it. So everybody go check out his website, place your orders.
Yes,
And
please.
we'll catch everybody on the flip side. Peace.
A couple tours with those guys.
With
When I
who?
was with Buddy. With the G3 circuit.
Oh, no kidding. Was it with Kenny
Oh,
Wayne?
yeah.
Because Kenny Wayne's got big ties here. Was Kenny Wayne on that one, or was it, who was it?
No, it was
Steve
Steve
Vai?
Vai, Steve Vai, Johnson, and Satch.
And Satch, man. Satch is the man, isn't he?
The Satch man, yeah.
Woo!
Actually, I got some really good video somewhere. I'll have to find it for you. It's on a home recorder,
Okay.
and I'll have to videotape it on my iPad. I'll put it up on my TV and video record it for you.
Yeah.
It's of a place in where was that? It was in Italy. Estonia, maybe. And it's like an old castle. It was a huge, large festival for the whole day, and Buddy was closing out the festival. G3 was before us, and before them was the Blues Brothers band with Steve Cropper and a whole bunch of guys, like a reunion thing. And so why the Blues Brothers guys are up there playing, everyone had done all their sound checks, and we were there like it was like an all-day event because it was like there was so many big wigs on it. They had everyone show up really early to the show, you know? So everyone's there, even the stars, Buddy, Satch, everyone is like hanging out. And then downstairs of like in the back, what you consider the backstage area of this venue, it was like a castle, and there's like on the inside of the castle, there's a big like open area in the middle of the castle where they were running the show. But in the back spots, they had like this little thing that you went downstairs, and it was like little dungeon rooms, dude, in this castle that were like our dressing rooms. And I brought my video camera that day. I mean, that was when we actually had video cameras, right? You know, I mean, it sounds hilarious to even say that today, right?
Yeah.
You know, considering that we all carry around video cameras now, right?
Yeah.
But mine was actually pretty small. It was one of those little compact ones, you know, it was when those first came out. And it had one of those little flip screens you could put on the side, you know. So I had that with me. So me and my buddy Marty, the keyboard player, we were like, let's take some video, man. So we started walking around. We got downstairs, and there was all the dressing rooms. And my buddy Marty's like, hey, man, why don't we go say hi to some of the other guys and see if they'll say something on your video for you, you know? And I'm like, yeah, sure. So we go down, and all of a sudden there's Satch just sitting there in his room with his guitar, and he's just sitting there shredding, dude. You know, no amp on, just shredding on the guitar, you know. And we come walking in, and we're like, hey, Joe, hey, you wouldn't mind like saying something for my camera thing? And he looks at me and he goes, oh my God. I don't know if you know this or not, but like me and Joe almost look alike with the, you know, since he's shown the bald head and the dark eyes and the brown, you know, dark eyelashes. So he's like, dude, we look like brothers. We're like brothers. You're like Joe Satriani. And he's like saying this as my buddy's got the video camera going, right? And he goes, hey, he goes, are your boys sitting down the hall right now? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, let's go play a gag on your boys. And I'm like, okay. So he gets up, steps out of the room, and there's like this long hallway, and all the doors are along the right, and ours is all the way down, you know? He goes, as we're walking down the hallway, all of a sudden he goes, hold on, wait a minute. And he stops and he goes, here, take my guitar. And I'm like, what the? Like Joe Satriani is like handing me his guitar, dude. And he goes, the funniest thing is, you know, he always, at the time, he was wearing like the black pants, and black t-shirt, you know, and he wear the glasses for the alien thing, you know. So I had my glasses up, and you know, so he's like, here, take my guitar. So we look exactly like, we look like twins, right? Even size-wise, we're like the same height. He gives me his guitar, puts his guitar, and he goes, let's go walking down to your room, man, you know? So we go walking down, and my buddy's behind us, you know, videotaping us walking down the hallway. We get to the room, and Joe knocks on the door, and he goes, knocks on our band door and opens up the door, and he goes, hey guys. I wanted you to meet Mr. Joe Satriani. And he points to me holding his guitar because I got his guitar on, right? And my boys open up the door and they're like, oh my God, you guys are like twins. You guys are like, and we are, dude, I got this all on videotape, like on home camera stuff, dude.
We need to get it.
It is a stitch, bro, because even Joe is like, oh, you forgot your pick, Joe. And he hands me his pick, you know, and I'm like that, you know, and he's like, yeah, we look good together, man. We should be brothers, you know.
Can you imagine you playing on stage if you were doing your horn dressed like him with sunglasses like that, and you guys did a whole thing? That would have been killer, dude.
I gotta tell you, man, one of the nicest guys ever. I mean, dude, like Joe wasn't, you know, he was, you know, a lot of those guys, and nothing bad against those guys. I mean, I know what it's like, even being around Buddy for all the years. You know, when you come to the show, dude, you kind of want to just think about the show. You don't want visitors every 5 minutes, you know, stopping your train of thought, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Can you meet my girlfriend? Can you meet my dad? Can we take pictures? You know, that kind of, you know, so but it was earlier in the day, but I'm like, I didn't really want to I didn't know how he was going to take it. I thought he might be like, oh yeah, hey, how's it going, man? Hey, good to see you guys, man. Kind of like move on, right? You know?
Yeah.
But he like stood up and was like, oh my God, you're like my, dude, are your boys here? You know, like he was so into it. He's the one who like suggested the whole thing, you know, like I didn't come up with it. He completely was like, dude, you're really cool, man. You're the sax player for Buddy. Oh man, I love Buddy Guy, man. You know, let's go mess with your boys right now. Here, take my guitar, you know? And I'm like, what is happening right now, dude? Like
you're being pranked.
He really is. Like he's acting like he's my brother right now, dude. Like we're homeboys for 30 years or something, dude. I don't even know him. And he's like, I'm like, well, Joe, I met you like 15 years ago when one of my buddies he actually played here in Buffalo. Back in
I get it, man. That's amazing. Yeah. You got to find that footage, buddy, and then just like you said, just put it on TV, high tab,
it's on one of those little cassettes there.
Yeah,
you know,
man, we need to get that. That's hilarious. Oh my God,
it's in the vault. It's in the vault.
We gotta get it. You gotta get it. Now you have no excuse. You're not making dinner for kids or taking people to school anymore. Yeah. You're an empty nester, buddy. So you got time. You got time, man. Come on, you gotta find it, man.